Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today is Wednesday, July 9th. It is just a little bit past, 5 minutes past the hour um, for the Meridian Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. Um, We'll begin with a call of the roll. Rachel?
Yes, thank you. Don Gelsomino.
Present.
Jennifer Bobo is absent. Mandy Roberts is absent. Joe Greer.
Present.
Ellie Hood.
Present.
Bree Sandow.
Present.
Terry Dennington.
Present.
John Nesmith is absent. And Alan Helms is absent.
Thank you, Rachel. Quorum being present, we'll move on to adoption of tonight's agenda. Do I have a motion for the adoption of tonight's agenda?
Move. Oh, go ahead. Chair? Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
Commissioner Greer.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the agenda for tonight.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Greer. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dennington. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. We have the approval of the minutes from the April 9th, 2025 regular meeting, as well as the May 14th special meeting. Do we have the June? Oh, that's right. We didn't have a June meeting. I apologize. We do not have a June minutes because we had to cancel the meeting due to inclement weather. Do we have an approval for the minutes for April 9th's regular meeting and May 14th's special meeting?
I move that we approve the minutes.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Sandow. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Greer. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. Next item is our announcements, upcoming events with Steve. Yeah, with not Shelley.
Shelley couldn't be here. I'm a poor substitute for her, but I will do my best. So events, we are deep into event season, so buckle up. Sparklight movie nights are ongoing, and let's see, July 11th is the next one coming up. We have Toy Story in the park. We also have Kleiner Park Live, live music at the band shell. I don't know if any of you have been to either of the first two concerts, but they've just been great. I was at the opening one with the Eagles tribute band called Dark Desert Highway. It was one of those heart moments for me where it was just like, this is what we envisioned when we built this place, right? There was just, the weather was perfect and the amphitheater was packed and the music was fun. And anyway, great. So the next one's coming up on the 18th of July with Oral, I think is how you say their name. So let's see, we have concerts on Broadway, and the first one of the season, there's one in July, one in August, one in September, and the July one is actually this weekend, right here. It's on July 12th, Saturday, 7 p.m. If anybody wants to come here at City Hall, featuring Soul Patch, which should be a lot of fun. And boy, let's see, Cassandra wanted me to also mention, I think everyone has one of these postcards at their desk. So the Arts Commission, who has presented to you recently, they have a public art survey out, and they would like to encourage all of you and anyone listening to please go on and take the public art survey. For anyone listening, it's meridiancity.org/art-survey. Survey has to be completed by August 18th, but the sooner the better. They're gathering responses now. Our activity guide is in full swing. Summer activity guide's out. Some swim lessons are being taught at the pool. There's lots of activities at the Meridian Community Center, at Home Court, at the building that's next to the pool. There's things going on at all those locations. So come and join us for some of our fun summer activities and some of the many summer events that are happening throughout the rest of the summer. I can't believe it's moving so quickly. We're basically only a month out from kids going back to school already. So it seems like they just got out. So with that, I'm going to stand for any questions.
Steve, I'm sure, are we already starting the Christmas committee yet?
Oh, yeah.
Or anything? Just a
I know the
recap.
early planning is underway. Garrett may know, so you want to add anything to that, Garrett?
Yeah, we're meeting this Friday just regarding some volunteer opportunities just internally before we start reaching out to a lot of different groups to see who's willing to help and things like that. So, yeah, we're already talking Christmas in July.
We'll see if I still fit in the
It's
costume.
Christmas in July. Yeah, we talk about summer activities in December and Christmas activities in when it's 105 out. So it's just the way our planning goes 6 months out. So
Would you happen to have a recap on any events that happened for 4th of July
Sure.
in the park?
so the first time that I've ever known 4th of July not to be, triple digits and instead was like 68 degrees and threatening rain. As a result, people didn't show up as early as they usually do for the event in the park. It begins at 4 p.m., but by 8 p.m., that park, the crowd was bigger than last year. I think the cooler weather maybe, kept him home a little. Well, plus it was kind of raining off and on, kind of mid-afternoon and that early evening. And then it did actually start sprinkling during the fireworks. About quarter after 10 or so, it started sprinkling, but it didn't seem to dampen the spirit of the crowd at all. Everyone was, just having a great time. And in my somewhat biased, but also somewhat objective position from having seen many of these, I thought it was one of the best fireworks shows we've had. I thought it was absolutely wonderful. So I heard that from other people that reached out to me afterwards, and I thought it was a great event. So there was music in the band, I say band shell, it was in the picnic shelter that we use as a band shell. And yeah, the fireworks were a wonderful show. So.
Do we have any additional questions for Steve from the commission?
Okay, thank you.
None? Thank you. We'll move on to new, bless you. We'll move on to new business, 2025 Meridian Dairy Days update by Hans Brun.
Thanks for inviting me again. It was a really well attended Meridian Dairy Days. When we looked on our weather app about the week before, we saw 80, 90, and then 60 on Saturday, and rain and storm, and so we were a bit worried. But it started out great with the golf tournament on Monday. Last year it rained and wind, and this year it was beautiful. We got a lot of feedback to what a great shape the golf place is. I'm not a golfer, so I'm pretty good at miniature golf, but that's about as far as it goes. But it went really well. It was the Keith Bird Memorial Golf Tournament, and then Dairy Days itself went well. We have to apologize for a few ruts in Story Park. We had a little oops when after the states came in. There was supposed to be a banner from Valley-wide. That banner didn't come in until after the states was up, and it's one of the stages that folds up, and because we were all too old to start carrying the old states. So we got this stage, so we had to get a loader, and they hang up the banner, up front, and that did put on a few ruts. If we need to come out with a shovel, and we'll take care of it. But so that went really well. We had again this I think the third or fourth, maybe or fourth, fifth time that we had music. We had a lot of groups, so several Hispanic dance groups again. And you'd mentioned Soapats. They've played at our event ever since the first time we had music, and they're a lot of fun and great entertainment. We had a few new things. And that was the only thing that the weather kind of had a little negative effect on, is we had hot air balloons this year. We'd planned, I think there was like 10 hot air balloons that were supposed to take off from Story Park Saturday morning. And I got there about 5:30, and I thought, this is great, very little wind. I was talking to the balloon guy, he goes, yes, you go 400 feet up and there's 5-mile-an-hour wind going straight to the airport. And since we didn't want to be in the news for Meridian Dairy Day shutting down Boise Airport, but they did inflated their balloons, they just didn't take off, and they let people come and talk to them. And then at night, we were supposed to have Dairy Glow. But that time the wind had kind of picked up, and they were afraid they set their balloons on fire. But what they did is they made a big ring with about, I think there was 8 balloons, those baskets. And then they put on a heck of a fire show, because he said they went through about 180 gallons of propane. And and then one of them even let kids come in there and, pull the big deal. So that worked out really well. But that Saturday, it was a little bit cooler. And I think that is the biggest crowd I've ever seen at Meridian Dairy Days. One of the reasons for that is that we had moved the parade from 6 o'clock in the evening to 11 o'clock in the morning. Reason behind that, besides, a little push from Meridian Police Department, is the fact that for the last couple of years, it was like 100 degrees, and, people, it was just rough on like a 6 o'clock parade. And then this year we almost needed long pants and coats and stuff. But the good thing about it was a lot of people, they stayed, after the parade was over with, and a big crowd stayed all the way. We had food vendors. One of them had to go home 3 times to restock, and by 9:30, some of them start simply running out of food, and they've never had that happen before. So that was good for the food vendors. The other new thing we had was a demolition derby. Adam with the Speedway put that on Friday night, and he just kind of one time said, but during one of the meetings, wouldn't it be fun to have a demolition derby? And say, you're on. So I think we had 14 cars. Now 10 of them, Adam, the Speedway, had bought themselves, because they want to make sure there was enough cars. And then a couple of them came out of Baker, Oregon, and some out of the Homedale. And it was, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but they set off an area, and 14 cars started. The last one that still moved won. No other. The only rule was you're not supposed to hit somebody in your, driver's side door. But I don't think they were watching that very close either. And one of our board members, Gary Johnson, was actually talking to be one of the drivers. Well, they asked all the board members, but we go, it's Friday, we still have Saturday to go. We better, don't want to be walking around with whiplash. But that was, I think that's going to be a thing to stay. And just like the balloon thing, I think that's going to just grow bigger and bigger. And it's going to make a kind of a nice addition to set us apart from some of the other events that are going on. And then, of course, we had our dairy cattle and dairy goat show, which was very successful. We have an old McDonald's farm, which is kind of like a petting zoo, which is put on by one of the local 4-H clubs, and it was probably more different species of animals there. So we were very happy. We had a lot of new sponsors came on board. One of the, Valley White is one of the new businesses in town. They came on board because all all our proceeds go to either scholarships or supporting youth in this area. We've already this year handed out over $30,000 in scholarship for local FFA students. And we just, at our last meeting, we had a group of 4 kids that had won the state contest, and they're going to nationals. So we could hand them $2,000 to help offset costs. So, and then we support like the Meridian football team that came out and helped, and the Hawaii cheerleaders that came out to help, and so we can support them with this. So we're already looking for next year. The dates are going to be kind of interesting. We are tied to what the Cherry Festival does because we have the same carnival as the Cherry Festival does. So we have to follow their dates. They always go the second full week in June, and they count Sunday as the first day, which makes us the third full week. So this coming year will be 25th through the 27th of June, which kind of makes it the final weekend in June. It's got its ups and its downs. This year we were at the same time as the Snake River Stampede. I don't think they impacted us at all. Next year will be probably the same time as the Treasure Valley Rodeo. I don't know if that's gonna make a much difference. It's a different crowd. We will probably, unless Eagle Fun Days changes their dates, will probably be the same weekend as Eagle Fun Days, which means we could have 2 parades on Saturday. But you know, that's kind of up to them. We've set our dates, and it's then Channel 6 is what was our media sponsors, and those guys were incredible. They were there doing the news, and they were there all the time. And I even got to be the color commentator for the parade, and that's something a new adventure for me, but it was kind of fun. So, and again, I do want to thank the Story Park folks there. They're just incredible to work with. You know, the same people every year, and that says a lot because, you know, you go through a lot of business, you see different people, but the crew there at Story Park has been there for years, and so we know them real well. And anytime I think it was the first night, all of a sudden the sprinkler got on, and we called them, and within minutes they got everything taken care of. And the same with the trash and everything. So we really appreciate working with those guys. So, any questions?
Any questions from the commission for Hans? Hearing none. Hans, thank you so much. We appreciate, Garrett?
I was just going to ask Hans if he could kind of talk just briefly about how you guys support the local high schools and agricultural stuff like that. I know at the meeting on Monday night when I was there, we had 3 students from, I think, CUNA High School, and maybe I think all of them were from CUNA.
What?
Just talk about how you
One
guys
of them was
support that and the
from
scholarship.
CUNA, and one of them was from Meridian.
Right.
4-H Club.
Yeah. Do you mind just kind of talking about how you guys do give back to the community in that aspect?
Yeah, and that's and I kind of mentioned that a little bit. Those the local kids, and they come and ask for, you know, because I think it costs them somewhere around $7,000 to go to Denver to do this national contest. So we could help them out there. And then the same with the high schools, you know, like the football team or the white cheerleaders. They come out and they help us, you know, with the vendor setup or with trash or this, so we can give them a donation for their programs. Like I said, most of a majority of the money goes to it's the FFA, the Idaho FFA Foundation. And the requirement is that whoever gets that scholarship goes into some kind of agribusiness, whether it's veterinarian or just you know, want to become a farmer. And then the nice thing about those scholarships is they're a 4-year scholarship. So, they can get $1,000 each year up to 4 years. Because with a lot of them, they get a scholarship when they're as a senior of high school, get a lot of scholarship, and then later on it kind of dries up. And so we try to promote agriculture, and then the same, we always hear, well, why do you guys got dairy days? There's not a dairy in sight, and which is true, but it's kind of based on what this community used to be, and there's still a lot of dairy, just not with a Meridian address.
Exactly.
Chairman Gelsomino, I do have a question.
Yes, Commissioner Dennington.
Yes, I want to know how many dairies are still in the area in the Treasure Valley, or do you work with them all across the state, or how does that work?
There are some dairies in this valley. If you go south of Nampa's, Cuna, Melba area, but we're not really. We promote dairy products and try to, educate the people about the importance of dairy, but we don't really. We're not a representative of the dairy farmers themselves. A lot of times you have United Dairymen of Idaho, and we were confused sometimes with them, but they're more an organization that is run by dairy farmers and promotes those. We're really, there's actually no dairy farmers left on our board. There's a couple of retired ones like myself. But we're simply trying to educate and promote the dairy in, the products and stuff. So.
Yes,
Follow-up
Commissioner
question.
Dennington.
Follow-up question. I just, so the products that you're just promoting to like the 4-H clubs and those kinds of things, because you want them to go, like you're giving the scholarships you were saying, to try and get them to go into agriculture or dairy farming or that kind of thing? Is that correct? So
Right, and it's not just dairy. It's basically agriculture and the white, anything from agribusiness to the veterinarian skills up to I don't know what you call for genetics, anything like that.
follow up.
Yes, Commissioner Dennington.
Sorry.
Yeah, so you also support them because it sounded like you have the 4-H, and the FFA or something that come out and are they participating in the dairy days with you?
Correct. Our dairy cattle and our dairy goat show are all 4-H and FFA kids. And then there is a program in this valley. It's called the Treasure Valley Heifer Replacement Program. It's a little bit like the kids that raise the pigs and they take them to the fair and then sell them. This is these kids get a heifer when they're about 4 or 5 months old, and they keep them for like a year and a half till about ready to have a calf. And then they have a sale at the Western Idaho Fair, and those animals are sold to local dairymen. And one of the shows they are required to attend is Meridian Dairy Days. So that keeps our dairy show up. And then we also donate so much per kid when they sell at Western Idaho. So, and then a lot of the 4-H clubs, they're, even if they're not actually dairy, there could be, other species, they still are very much involved, and we support them financially with that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hans. Unless there are any other questions?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I just want to mention, well, first of all, a thank you to Hans and his whole group with the Dairy Board for what they do. I love personally the tie and the celebration of the Meridian's history and its dairy heritage. I like that it keeps in remembrance what this community came from. And I have a personal tie to it. I have an uncle who has told me stories of when he was young, riding with another one of my uncles to run a route in South Meridian to pick up dairy in the big containers and bring them to the Meridian Creamery. And I've been around long enough to remember the Challenge Butter smokestack that used to sit on this site. And, you know, it's not a big part of who we are, but it's a big part of where we came from, and therefore it deserves to be part of who we are. So thank you for helping us remember that and keeping that alive.
Yeah, because I moved to Meridian in 1981. I rented a dairy on the corner of 10 Mile and Overland, and you know where the exit is now. And at that time, I think I could count 4 or 5 dairies within a mile around me, and of course that's changed quite a bit. So. Okay. Appreciate it. I think I'm in the 1-hour parking zone, so I may not hang around. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Our next presentation is Sean Evans. He is the Chamber President of the Meridian Chamber of Commerce and CEO of the Meridian Chamber of Commerce as well.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner, and thank you, commissioners, for inviting me here today. I'm going to try and cover 3 things with you for the chamber today. Our auditorium district efforts and a new car show event that we're bringing to downtown, and our Oktoberfest, which is in its 4th year this year. So first up is our auditorium district. So I'm going to not for sure how many of the commissioners are familiar with what an auditorium district is, so I'm going to try and cover that first, and then I'll tell you where we are in our stages. So the auditorium district is something the chamber has been working on for quite some time of getting it established in our community. Let's see, did you say arrow down or mouse down? Next slide. There we go. All right. So the background for the need for an auditorium district is there is still a lack of conference and meeting facilities in Meridian and even in the Treasure Valley. We're trying to overcome this deficiency and create more space for community activities. And as a leader in our community, we need the support from our businesses to help champion that effort. Next slide. I'm not able to advance for some reason. There we go. So what is an auditorium district? So an auditorium district is a section of code that the Idaho legislature established years ago, back in the 50s, that allows for communities, municipalities, areas to establish a special taxing district. That special taxing district then collects up to a 5% tax or assessment on overnight hotel stays. Revenue does not come from any other sources. That is the only source that it comes from. Those funds are used to build, operate, maintain, market, and manage public auditoriums, exhibit halls, convention centers, sports arenas, and other facilities of similar nature. Districts are then governed by elected officials that oversee that special taxing district. Probably very similar to what you've are maybe familiar with was the current Western Ada Recreational District, where those commissioners go through election cycles. But this is a special taxing district that only collects that tax off of overnight stays in hotels. So no one local pays 1 red cent unless you decide to stay in a hotel here in Meridian. And then at that point, you're treated just like any other visitor, and you're going to pay the taxes that are appropriate for that hotel. The communities, if you'll go to the next slide. The communities in Idaho that currently have this include Boise, Pocatello, Nampa, and Idaho Falls. Boise is the one that's been established the longest. It was formed in 1959. They built the Boise Center in 1990 and have since expanded that. Their district is pretty large. It actually encompasses parts of Meridian because it comes all the way up to Eagle Road. So anything on the east side of Eagle Road is actually already in the GBAD, the Greater Boise Auditorium District. That district today collects a little over $13 million from their hotel tax annually. It's a pretty significant amount, and they have surpluses every year. So in 2021, they entered into a public-private partnership and built the Boise Aquatic Center using some of their funds. And they're always looking for ways to improve that. But their goal is to benefit their hotels. So that convention center space in downtown Boise is primarily designed to bring in conventions, bring in visitors that are going to come and stay in those hotels. Pocatello Chubbuck was the next one to establish a district in 1998, and they built their Mountain View Event Center. Some of you may have seen the event center they have there. It's used for a lot of sports activities. In Pocatello, it's actually used for a lot of community parks and recreation activities as well. If you go to the next slide. Idaho Falls formed theirs in 2011, and they raised $16 million in district funding since their inception, and through other partnerships built a $62 million Meridian or Mountain America Center. It's their ice hockey arena, convention space there in Idaho Falls, and their district continually funds that operation and maintenance of that facility. And then finally, the Nampa Auditorium District was established just this last November. The vote of that passed by 61% in Nampa. It was Nampa's actually third try to get their district established. So it was great success that they got that established. And theirs is not going to build something new. It's actually going to support the Idaho Ford Center and their community center. So they have plans to add on to the Idaho Ford Center, and their auditorium district funding will help that. Their district is set to collect about $1.8 million annually off of the hotels that are in their district boundaries. Next slide, please. So the purpose of an auditorium district, and this is one of the things that our group are really looking at, is I say a district has to feed itself. So the only way the district generates funds is if people stay in hotels. And so a district needs to build, maintain, and operate something that's going to bring people into the community to stay overnight. Otherwise, the district is not supporting itself. When we looked at our study, and I'll get to that in a moment, we looked at a lot of different things that the district could possibly support. A performing arts center, possibly bringing building a baseball stadium here, bringing the Boise Hawks. The county, recently is building a soccer stadium and things like that. Those type of activities, while I would love to have the Boise Hawks here in Meridian or a performing arts center somewhere in Meridian that we could go to, those type of facilities are visited by locals. It's local people in the community that frequent those venues. And they don't necessarily bring a lot of visitors in from outside that require overnight stays. So our district really wanted to build an event center that was going to meet a need, not only in Meridian, but in the Treasure Valley, that brought visitors to our community, brought money into the community to be spent, and also meet some of the local needs, because just like the Boise Center is focused on bringing in conventions and people from outside the area, they have open dates that locals use it for, whether it's the St. Alphonsus Festival of Trees or other nonprofit dinners or local events. Building a large event center will create space available for local events as well. If you wouldn't mind switching over to the other presentation, I'll move over to that quickly. So what the chamber did over the course of the last 10 years is we've been working to, one, do a study on what it is that is needed, and then try and bring that to the forefront of our citizens so that they understand, because in order to establish an auditorium district, you have to get the citizens that live in the district to vote for it. So it's a taxing district, so the public has to vote for it. Even though in this special district, the local citizens won't pay 1 red cent. But that's the process that we have to go through. So we conducted a feasibility study. This was conducted in 2023. Some of you from the Parks Department got to sit in on those conversations whenever the group that we had hired to do the study was having conversations with the local stakeholders about what type of facility that we need. And the conversation quickly turned to past performing arts or baseball stadiums or things like that. And it turned to a indoor facility, multi-purpose indoor sports facility. Parks Department's very aware that sports tourism, club sports is one of the fastest growing sectors anywhere. It is the fastest growing sector of domestic tourism. People travel for their kids or their own sports activities all over the country. I myself, for 6 years, traveled all over the country for my daughter's competitive cheer. So I know exactly what is spent. And unfortunately, during that 6-year time frame, never once did we get to actually hold one of those large cheer competitions here in Idaho because there's no facility for it. The study came back and really was pointing towards the need in the Treasure Valley for an indoor sports complex, because what we heard from a lot of the stakeholders is that, you know, we'd love to be able to host large basketball tournaments or large volleyball tournaments, cheer competitions, dance competitions, pickleball tournaments, and things like that in the Treasure Valley, but there's just not space. And when I say large, we're talking to groups that want to bring in 150, 200 teams that has sometimes 2,000, 3,000 participants in a tournament. And while we've got great facilities like the basketball courts here at home court and things like that, those are just not large enough, because some of the groups that are inquiring about these type of tournaments, the first thing they ask is, well, do you have a facility that can have 8 basketball courts under one roof? No. We have 8 basketball courts around the valley? Yeah, but that requires them to, you know, coordinate locations, communicate with their participants where they're at this day compared to the next day. These type of facilities that people go to for these large tournaments are all encompassing. They have everything that needs under one roof, that being the food service, that being plenty of parking, hotels nearby for the groups to stay in and things. So our study really started looking at that multi-purpose event sports complex, so what we could get done. So local market conditions were perfect for what we were looking to build. And with the number of people that reside within 30 minutes of Meridian, the significant presence of families, and the number of hotel rooms that we now have in Meridian. Many of you have been around for a long time. 10, 15 years ago, we had a fraction of the hotel inventory that we have today. So as of today, there are 1,800 sleeping rooms in Meridian. Some of those are in GBAD. On the east side of Eagle Road. So 1,243 rooms are what would be located in our proposed district. And that's pretty significant. And I'll get to what that district will generate for us. Could you go to page 4, next page? Reasons for an event center. The growing market demand for meeting event space, youth amateur sports, the lack of existing facilities that can accommodate these type of things. Just the potential for generating new economic impact for our community was also pretty significant. Could you go on to page 9? Thank you. So market demand and conclusions that came out of the study was basically that there is a demand, but the demand needs to be something that is not necessarily overlapping with what the Boise Center is providing or what Nampa is providing. Also, the demand really was for an indoor facility. We've got some amazing parks, baseball fields, soccer fields all across the valley, but what we're missing is that indoor facility. Plus our hotels. Our hoteliers were part of our discussion, and they were telling us that their occupancy rates are 80, 85% during the summer months, but October to March, When winter starts setting in our community, their occupancy rates drop to 50 to 60%. So an indoor sports complex that would offer opportunities for activities year-round would benefit our hotel sector as well. If you go to page 16, the economic projections is the primary reason that the Meridian Chamber is advancing this. We see this as something that not only will be beneficial to Meridian, it'll be beneficial to our businesses that are in Meridian, whether that be a hotel, restaurant, retail, or attractions in our area. Our study came back and based on what they're recommending in a type of facility to meet the needs of an indoor facility, once it's at full capacity, it could host about 439 annual events. It would generate an annual attendance of a little over 220,000 people. It would increase annual hotel room nights by 32,000. And having local economic impact, a little over $25 million a year. That's money being brought into our community, spent in our hotels, our restaurants, our retail, our local attractions by those visitors that are coming to our community. So that's one of the primary reasons the chamber, who represents the business community, is trying to advance this effort of establishing a district. If you go to the next page. So what will our district do? So as I mentioned, 1,243 rooms are in our proposed district. In 2022, those 928 rooms generated $33 million in revenue. Based on the 1,243 rooms, you're looking at 40 to 45 million being generated. Assuming a 5% auditorium district tax, this district, as it sits right now, with the number of hotel rooms, would generate between $2 and $2.2 million a year for the district to, once again, build, maintain, operate, market, and a facility that we're proposing to build. There's some other ways that we can build this faster than what Boise Center did. Boise Center actually waited almost 30 years before they built their first facility after their district was established. You know as good as I do that we can't wait even 10 years in Meridian or we're going to run out of space. So that's where we are right now. We are in the signature gathering stage right now. We need to gather 1,500 signatures to be on the May ballot, and that is our target. We've actually raised enough money to hire a firm to go out and do the paid signature gathering for us now, and they're out collecting signatures now for us to be on the May ballot. Our ballot initiative only requires a simple majority to vote yes, and we will be doing a pretty heavy campaign next March and April to encourage the people to vote this special taxing district in place next year. So that's what I have on the auditorium district. The two other things that I'll briefly touch on and then open it up for questions is the new car show that we're doing in downtown Meridian. September 6th, our downtown committee, which is made up of a lot of our downtown businesses in the core, they've had such great success on Oktoberfest. They wanted to do another event. So we're working with ACHD, with the city, to close the Idaho Street and 2nd Street on that Saturday from 10 to 3 for a car show. We anticipate about 125 cars in that space for the day. We'll have live music in the park. We'll have a few vendors, but it's mostly to benefit the downtown businesses. And really just have a really good first-year car show in the downtown core area over there. This is the same footprint that we use for Oktoberfest. So same road closure pattern that we use for Oktoberfest, but we're not going as far as setting up fencing and things like that to establish a beer garden. For the car show, alcohol must stay in the buildings that serve it. So we're excited about this. We've sold out all of our sponsorships for this event and are already getting pre-registered vehicles to participate in the car show. So that is our newest addition for the downtown, but our kind of signature event for the downtown business community is now the Oktoberfest event. October, the first Saturday in October, this year that's October 4th, fourth year for this event. When we began this event, we were hoping for 2,000 to 3,000 people to come down for the first year. We ended up having 10,000 plus people show up throughout the day. Last year, our estimates with wristbanding and our resource that we use to track cell phone data in the market had us right around 12,000 again, of people that were down in the downtown core area for the Oktoberfest event during the time frame that we conducted the event, and that's 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. When we started Oktoberfest, we were looking to create an event that was a little bit different than the Christmas parade or Dairy Days. We wanted to target a demographic that was 25 to 55 age group that came down to spend money. While we love the parades and love people to come down for the parades, the downtown businesses don't tend to see money spent by the crowds that come in for the parade. So we wanted to create an event that people were going to come in, stay, and spend money. And it's been a success. The first 2 years when we were tracking the amount of money that was being brought in and spent into the downtown area, we were in the $250,000 to $300,000 range that was being spent in downtown on that one day. So this is our fourth year. We continue to tweak the event a little bit. We've added 2 stages now. Last year, we did 2 stages for live music. We used the intersection of 2nd and Idaho for our festival square, where we do a lot of our activities like our strudel eating contest, our broad eating contest, our costume contest, our Steinhold. So we have a lot of activities that go on. We continue to try and build this into as much of a cultural event, Oktoberfest, as we can, but it is a great time for people to come down and enjoy live music, drink beer provided by many of our local breweries that are right here in downtown, and have fun with some of the activities that we have. If you have not been down to an Oktoberfest, you need to come down. It is a sight to be seen when you put, 7,000, 8,000 people into the 2-block area at one time. So, the parades may bring down just as many people, but it's a lot more spread out than what Oktoberfest is. So with that, I'm happy to stand for questions on any of the 3 things that I've talked about.
Thank you, Sean. I'll start off, excuse me, I have a ton of questions, but I'm going to consolidate them into 3 that I believe kind of encompass what I'd like to find out more of with regards to the auditorium district. So first would be the where. If and when a facility is designed, planned, constructed, I mean, I've been here 15 years, and when I still look at a map of Meridian and the impact border line, it's like, where else are we going to build?
Yeah. Could I get you to bring up a website so I can show what the district boundaries are and answer this question a little more effectively?
Yeah.
Can you just bring up a website address on the screen? meridianauditoriumdistrict.org.
I mean, there's a empty shell of a building across the street that I'd like to see something.
Our facility is a little bit bigger.
Okay.
The facility that is part of our study that's being proposed is about 200,000 square feet. So the locations that we could build this are not located in the downtown area. Nor is the parking availability. So if you would scroll down a little bit till you get to the map of the district boundaries, a little bit further. There you go. Yeah, let's try and have that up where we can see it. If you close that, set as default window, you probably have enough room. Hit the X over there to close that where it says Google.
He's got something else blocking it, so she's trying to, yeah, it's gonna be right under that. Underneath that. Just actually. Right underneath that.
There you go.
There you go. Now scroll down just a little bit. There we go. All right. So what you see on your screen, this is the district boundaries that we are establishing for the Meridian Auditorium District. And some people will ask, well, why does it look so weird? Why does it not encompass all of Meridian? Well, the district needs to have two things in it. It needs to have the hotels that you're going to have participate in the tax, and it needs to have the facility that you're going to build. So those two things have to be in the district boundaries. We did not encompass all of that residential area Meridian because there's never going to be hotels built there, nor is there any space to build the type of facility that we need. And finally, third, the last thing we want to do is start bringing traffic congestion into areas that cannot handle it. So, Mr. Chairman, to answer your question, location has not yet been determined because that's not a decision for the chamber to make or any of us that are working on this right now. That will be the decision of the commissioners that are actually seated when the district is established. But I can tell you, we are working with developers that have shown interest in setting aside land out at the 10-mile area and or up in the Fields District. That's why we went up and grabbed that top left corridor that is up in the Fields District, along where Highway 16 bisects that area. So we established our district boundaries to make sure that any future projects that we do are going to be in the district boundaries, or any future hotels that could possibly be built will be in those district boundaries.
Understood. Thank you, Sean. Just my last two questions, and I'll try and combine them into a point A, point B. First would be, has a pulse been gathered as to the favorability, unfavorability, the pulse of the citizens of Meridian as to this auditorium district so far? And the part B that follows up and kind of goes in conjunction with that first part is, you would know as well as I that there are entities both within the non-public sector as well as in the building in downtown Boise who are against any sort of progress, whether well-managed, not well-managed, whatever, and they will stop at nothing to burn every institution to the ground. And the moment the buzz starts being discussed of urban growth or a new body of elected officials, a new institution, we're going to see the usual feedback that we typically normally only see on election years. What, ahead of your campaign next year for getting this on the ballot and moving this forward, because this is something I personally believe is incredible and very well needed, long overdue in the city of Meridian. What strategic partnerships would you identify that could be successful in breaking through the noise that's gonna be coming from those entities I referred to that dwell and thrive in chaos and get this over the finish line?
Yeah. Well, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, to answer the first part of your question, the pulse of the community is really positive. Once you can get past the fact of explaining to them and educating to them that this is a tax that you will never have to pay unless you decide to go out and have an overnight in Meridian hotel. Once you kind of get past that and explain to them what it is that we're doing, what it is that we hope to bring to the community, especially whenever you can mention the type of activities that this facility will host, Everyone's got kids that are involved in some type of activities. And then one of the things that I forgot to mention earlier, and this really helps trip the trigger for a lot of people, we have 6 of the largest high schools in the state of Idaho. Where do they do graduations? Boise. This facility could host our high school graduations right here in Meridian. So, you know, those type of things are always positioned and presented as what this district will do. And once you can kind of get past that 4-letter word, tax, you know, the dirty word in Idaho, the citizenry and the people that want to embrace this, the comments are, it's a no-brainer. Well, why is this not already in place? Even last year, when we first announced our efforts to start gathering signatures, we had elected officials that are usually very negative on these type of things come out and say, this is the right way to do it. You're letting the citizens decide whether or not they want to put this district in place. And 2, this is the perfect tax because no one locally pays it. It's paid for by visitors. So those are the things that we see whenever we have those conversations. Part 2, you're absolutely right. There's naysayers out there. I personally have gone knocking doors, getting signatures, and people will say, no, I don't support this. We don't need any more growth in our community. That's going to add to road congestion, those type of things. Well, part of the chamber, we embrace growth. We want to be smart. It's going to happen. You've got to, manage it in the way and direct it in the way that's going to be best. That's why we're wanting to locate this somewhere right on the interstate corridor where it doesn't impact. The last thing we want to do is put this to where people are traveling down Eagle Road or something like that. How we try to overcome those objections is, wouldn't you rather have some control over that growth than no control? And by putting the elected officials in place, you get a little bit more control over that growth instead of making it all private sector that does that. The economic boost to the community is one of the things that people always appreciate, but there are naysayers to that as well. I personally had a conversation with one woman that whenever we were mentioning that this was going to bring all these people in and our hotels, our restaurants, everyone's going to be happy about the new business. She objected and says, well, that means I'm not going to be able to get into my restaurant as easy as I want to. Well, we represent the business community, so the business owner loves us for it. And then 2, to overcome her objection, when you create more demand, you create more opportunity. So there's going to be more restaurants come, more opportunities, more offerings for you when you create that type of demand. So those are the things that we try to overcome those objections. Years ago, when auditorium districts were being discussed, Mr. Chairman, there was a group of hoteliers that really objected to it because they felt like anything that was put on top of their fees deterred people. But our hoteliers now embrace this because they know we're trying to build something that is going to benefit them, that's going to fill their rooms and create a better situation for their occupancy rates. So even in Nampa recently, when they worked to pass their district this last November, the groups that usually were negative about taxing districts, they embraced it. They saw it as this is the perfect tax because no one locally will pay it.
Thank you, Sean. I'll sidebar with you at a different time with so many more questions I have, but, and elaborations, but any questions from the commission?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Greer.
mine is pretty simple. Sean, I just had a question when you're showing the map. So what size of property are you looking at? Is it 10 acres, 30 acres?
I'm sorry.
The size of the property that you guys are
So
considering, like how big is the building?
it's still early stages. So our study gave us some examples of facilities that could be built, but this is once again a decision of the commissioners that get seated, what type of facility they want to build. The study showed us an example of a facility in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. A facility that's about 160, 170,000 square feet that meets the needs and can do what our study said needed to be done here in the valley. So you're looking for anywhere from 4 to 8 acres worth of land to build the facility, and then also have parking. Yeah,
Thank you.
more would be better because you always want to have room for expansion.
I feel like how we have the corridor coming in, that's really ideal also.
I'm sorry.
I think that the corridor that is coming in for Highway 16 is ideal for something like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, 10 Mile, there's still a lot of locations out at 10 Mile that are perfectly suited for this right along the interstate.
So it won't be like Nampa.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone has been to events over there, but
Right.
the driving, well, actually getting out of the parking lots are usually the main issue. But thank you.
We
Thank
don't
you.
need more Trader Joe parking lots. Yes, any other questions from the commission?
Chairman Gelsomino?
Commissioner Dennington?
Yes, you're going to have to educate me on this because I'm not sure I understand the whole, like, who pays to build it, the facility?
So when a district is established, a district can use those funds to build, maintain, operate, market a facility. You have a lot of private entities that want to do something like this. There's been discussions in Meridian about a private enterprise wanting to come in and build a basketball facility and things like that. But what they are missing from that component is they're all looking for public support. They come to the city, they come to the Parks and Rec, they come to the county looking for money because these facilities like this, they operate at a net loss. They just cannot operate and be profitable. So you have to establish a district that creates public funding. And in Idaho, it's very unlikely you're going to get a city or county to take tax dollars and put towards this. But an auditorium district that collects that tax from visitors, you can use that money much more freely to build those type of facilities. Our district is going to generate between $2 and $2.2 million when it begins. When future hotels come online in the next 5-6 years, it could be as much as $3 million. That still won't build the facility because the facility is going to cost anywhere from $60 to $70 million to build. But what you have is you have a district that can support that. Then your developers will come in, they'll say, we'll build it, we'll lease it back to the district over a long period of time, or you can enter into a bonding agreement. Since you have a taxing district, you can have a bonding capacity that helps you get the money up front in order to build that type of facility. So there are several mechanisms that can be used to get the facility built. And then you have operating agreements. You can find a different company that pays you to operate the facility. The commissioners on this don't have to, run it themselves. They can find a third party that actually operates the facility.
Yes, Commissioner Dennington.
And so if I understand what you're saying too, is this is a combo business convention center as well as tournaments? Is that what you're looking at? Because I know I go to conventions across the country for business that I have,
Yeah.
and they're large, so.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. So the multi-purpose event center complex that we're looking at, the primary use of it would be for sports events, indoor sports events. The proposed facility would have flex space. It'd have space, large space to where, 120,000 square feet of it is just blank space. We are proposing about another 14,000 square feet that could be used in a little bit more upscale type space, ballroom space or things like that, but primarily used for large events. And to give you a little bit of scale, the Galaxy Event Center, where we just recently held the mayor's state of the city, the main ballroom, the large space before you open the garage doors and come into that space is only 8,900 square feet. You cannot fit any more than 350 people in that space and tables and things like that. Our facility is proposing a 14,000 square foot ballroom space where you could have a significant community event, significant size community event in it. Chamber events have outgrown the Galaxy Event Center. I have to turn away people whenever I do an event in there, whenever I can't put more than 350 in there. So we need that type of space.
A follow-up? So, 14,000 then as the ballroom could be for a large convention meeting per se, like with just chairs without tables. You could just have chairs set up for viewing and you'd have facilities to like the audio, video kinds of stuff for them to show on large screens for the speakers, that kind of thing, right?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, yes, the space would be flexible. You'd have the concrete floor space that was more designed for bringing in things. Then you'd have the ballroom space that was for meetings, conferences, dinner events, and things like that. And one of the things that we see is this is much needed space. And I know that the city, the Parks Department's looking to build the new community center. Your community center is specifically designed to meet the needs of the citizens of Meridian. This facility is meant to bring in visitors. It's meant first and foremost to meet the demands of the activities that it needs to support. Will it support other things? Absolutely. But the primary focus of this facility would be go out, recruit tournaments, recruit large sporting events to come to Meridian and use this as a base camp.
Another quick question?
Yes, Commissioner Dennington.
This is not on the auditorium. Sorry, I missed the date on the new car show. What date was that going to be happening?
That's September 6th.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah. Sean, thank you. This definitely goes in, especially the auditorium district, definitely goes in line with Meridian's goal of not being a drive-through, drive-by city, but a destination that we've been working on for the last decade, that at least I've been here. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to hear what the chamber's up to today. Thank you.
All righty. Our final presentation is a department home court update with Jake Garrow.
Right. Thank you, Mr. President and members of the commission for allowing me to come and share with you about Meridian Home Court. Meridian Home Court, as you all are aware, is 49,000 square feet of fun and activities located just over off of Franklin Road. We are host to 4 NBA-sized multi-units or basketball courts. And to Sean's point, I can speak to his request a little bit. We do get requests often for tournament space at home court. And some of the feedback is having athletic space close to food and hotels. It truly is a need, and I think it's ambitious, and I wish him well in his endeavors in getting this done. But this is something I think that could be very beneficial, like he said. And I've always thought about kids in Meridian, they don't get to graduate in the city that they grow up in. So that's just a piece of it too. So I wish him well in that endeavor, and I think that is something that would be of great value to our community. Back to home court, like I mentioned, we've got the 4 basketball courts, the 14 pickleball courts, 7 volleyball courts, and a little bit over 9,000 square feet of community education space. We've got what we call Court 5 next to the 4-court basketball court area. And last March? 18 months ago, we did a remodel in where the Research Church was. And we've opened up some community education space in there as well. So. Built in 2005 and donated to the YMCA in 2006. The city of Meridian took it over in 2016. Home court consists of daily patrons, people that come and visit us on a daily basis, pay the daily fees to enter the facility. We've got membership holders that we offer monthly memberships. Those are 30-day memberships that people can enroll in and have automatically renewed each month, or they can do a month-to-month basis if they choose to do that. Community athletic groups such as the AAU groups, kendo groups, martial arts group, they host facilities or events at our facility. And we also are host to many of special events. But it is the basketball and the volleyball folks that are seeking these larger venues, as Sean was referring to earlier. This is our schedule from a mile high. You see a lot of yellow. That yellow is pickleball. Pickleball is a growing sport. It's absolutely wild. I go home each evening and I hear the click, click, click back and forth. So oftentimes, a break throughout the day, at least from my office, is very welcome because it is busy and very loud. So this facility is, or this schedule is, we are flexible. We operate on kind of an open court philosophical range. If somebody wants to come in and set up volleyball space, even though it's not on our schedule during the day, we will confine and make it happen. So our goal is to be flexible and allow for as many activities during the weekend or day as possible. This here is our evening schedule, December through May. Monday through Thursday, through the months of September through May, 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. Our facility, that's when we see a high volume of our reservations through the AAU groups. Those Monday through Thursday, 4:30 to 7:30 time slots, that space is reserved for those AAU practices. Previously, we went Monday through Thursday, 4:30 to 10. 2 years ago, we scaled that space back. We kicked those groups out, didn't literally kick them out, but we had to find space for our community because we were turning people away at the door. So we quit doing those reservations at 7:30 p.m. and we open up the facility to our community members at 7:30 till we close at 10. That's been very well received and welcome. This is our weekend facility schedule. Those hours that right there they're incorrect. We are currently operating on Saturdays and Sundays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's nice outside. Folks are outside enjoying the nice weather. So we're kind of slow. In fact, we're really slow. We've just started doing this about 3 weeks ago. We found out upon us opening, we are busy for a little bit for pickleball. People venture out between 10 and 11. Then our basketball crew comes and sees us and they're gone by 1:30 or 2. So when we were open from 2 to 7 p.m., we were super slow from about 2:30 to 6:30 or 7. So we just decided to shut down the facility at 2 p.m. on weekends this time of year. We will revert back to these times and maybe expand these this fall, depending on the footprint and how the facility is used at that time. This is just another format of the schedule that I make available for our patrons. This is not set in stone, but we do kind of adhere to this during those high volume times of September through May when the weather is what it is outside and allows for people to come in and stay with us a little longer. Our community partners, these are the groups that offer the special events and reserve the space from us for those Monday through Thursday practices. We've got Game Time Basketball, Idaho Premier, Idaho Strike is a volleyball crew that comes with that visits us each Tuesday and Friday from September through the months of May. Diamond Lane is a local AAU girls organization. The AUSKF, that's a United Kendo Federation. They're going to host an event next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The gentleman hosting this event, Robert Stroud, he teaches through our activity guide. He is flying 4 Kendo instructors in from Japan. So this is a really, really cool event. He's done a great job for us. I don't know how he's making it work financially. I think he's probably pouring a little bit of his money into this because his camp is really, really cheap and affordable. but these kids and these younger adults are really getting a good education with these instructors that he's bringing to our community. So I really, really appreciate what he's doing. Select Basketball is another basketball group that is with us. Trio Hope of Mountain West and Culture Shock is a basketball group out of Caldwell that comes over and rents space from us. So we kind of service kind of the whole Treasure Valley when it comes to practice space and space for youth. Special events. We are membership based, so it is my goal to be fair and equitable to our daily patrons and our monthly membership holders, and not to overschedule our facility. So between the months of October and the end of April, we allow for events to take place every 6 to 8 weeks. I actually massage that a little bit. It's about 5 weeks. Then between May and September, when the facility usage rates are typically lower, those tournament events can be scheduled no closer than 2 weeks apart. Currently, right now, we are starting in November. I will have an event in November of 25, in December. Then we've got one a month through May of 26. So we're locked and loaded on events for the next little bit. Here is Bay 5, our community education room. This used to be the break room when the YMCA had the facility, and we redid this during our remodel when we took it over in 16. This here is our Bay 6 where the old church is. I think this might be a video. This is a really poor
Just for
video
Christmas
taken with
it.
my phone, so don't laugh. Hear it. And it looks at this space. This takes you into the sanctuary where the church used to be. That's all new. Well, same floor that we have in Bay 5. It's not, it looks wood. It's an laminate finish.
Santa, it's a Santa room.
It's the Santa room. Yes, it is. That's where Santa does his magic. These are the 3 rooms down the hallway. You know, not to discredit any of this new space, but it is going to be really, really nice when the new community center is up, and nice new shiny toy for the community. Facility maintenance. Beginning October 4th, we have an HVAC replacement project scheduled. The units on our roof they've been there since the facility was built, so they're going on about 21 years old.
Jake, just August 4th, not October 4th. Yeah.
August 4th, sorry. So coming up here towards the end of the summer. So we're going to shut down on August 4th. We're replacing 4 units at the moment. I am waiting feedback from the engineers. We're thinking about replacing another unit that sits up in the mezzanine above our bathroom, locker room area that feeds into the office. Our bid came in really, really reasonable, so we have some funds left over. We've got an engineer working to design a unit for that space as well, so hope to hear back from him this week. That project is, it's slated to last 1 week. So I'm really not planning to open. We may be open August 11th. I don't know. I'm not going to commit to any date. Construction projects or any unforeseen circumstance that could last a little longer. It is my goal to be open the week of August 18th for that week. I've got some groups scheduled in there for some space. We need the revenues. My staff needs to work. But that 25th, the next week, we close down again for a 2-week floor resurfacing project where a local company comes in, sands down the floor. We get a 2-coat polyurethane finish. The place stinks for about 14 days. We stay closed. We'll open back up on September 7th and get ready to rock and roll for all things youth volleyball, basketball, pickleball, our department's activities that start in October. Then our adult basketball joins us in December as well. Patron safety is huge for us. I mean, safety is the first criterion for us. All of our staff is CPR first aid certified. I'm continually do daily checks of all of our rooftop units. They are just that, hanging from the roof. Not often, but more often, we do find little nuts and bolts missing. They were serviced last summer. I'm trying to piggyback another service while we're closed at some point during our next two closures. Kreisenbeck Construction's bringing a gentleman in to do some work on some basketball hoops in another facility in the valley. So I'm trying to get that gentleman over to look at our stuff before we ramp up again. So we're constantly keeping our eyes open on safety of our equipment that we use. And this is a view from our front area. And I put this in here just to kind of dictate or depict what we see from our office area and how important our camera system and the role it plays within our facility, because our courts are divided by 3 curtains. So sometimes when you walk in and you see 1 or 2 guys there looking at a TV, a monitor, they truly are monitoring this camera system. I can't tell you how many fights we've broken up, response to people going down, getting injured. So because our line of sights to keep people safe are really, really minimal. So that security camera system does play a role. So. Plus it helps with theft and people grabbing the wrong bag, which happened today and yesterday. We had 2 people call and say, hey, I got home with the wrong keys and the wrong phone. So and here's kind of a picture of that in the upper left is, each court. And that second picture on top that's our line of sight out the little window of our front office. And that third picture down at the bottom is me sitting at the office and snapping a photo, both those photos on the bottom. So really the camera system does play a vital role for us in patron safety and keeping people safe. Meridian Home Court Marketing Program. This is something that Garrett, Steve, and I have really been recently working on. There's some prices on here. They're not set in stone. They're just an idea at this point. Our next step is we're going to get this, get mayor and council to look at this. We're going to start selling advertising signs. This is what you see here underneath this court 4. That is one of the pillars behind the basketball hoops at home court. We're going to sell some signage on there to help us raise some revenues to hopefully decrease our subsidy at the facility and keep it open and available for the public. We're seeking a 3-year commitment from folks. If they commit to us for 3 years, we waive the fee for the sign. If they want to stay with us 1 year, we're going to go ahead and charge them that sign fee so we can capture those sponsorship dollars at its entirety. This is another option. I'd like to keep this piece. We are also in the process of putting together a beverage contract, and I want to keep these opportunities available. So the beverage contract has a little meat to it for the company, the beverage company that provides us bids to do that service for us. So on that top panel, it does say sold. It's really not sold. It's just going to be available for the beverage contract. My goal is, just thinking off the cuff, is to sell that for $1,500 a year. So, and we've got 4 scoreboards. My U of I math is $6,000. Is that correct, Garrett? Same at Sac State? Okay. Then we will sell those 2 spaces below there where it says available marketing space. I think we'll sell those for maybe $750. Currently, our scoreboards don't have any place that we could sell this stuff, this marketing space. So I do have a quote from a sign company, local sign company. They could fabricate some cages, and they do it often at high schools and local schools to where they can fabricate these cages, mount them on the top of these scoreboards so we can in turn sell this sponsorship space at a later date. So. Fee increase, that's coming. We have owned the facility since 2016. We have never raised the fees. You know, cost of doing business is expensive. We want to keep it open, but we feel like we need to wrap our arms around our subsidy and be fair to the taxpayers of Meridian. So Garrett next week is going to come to mayor and council with a minor fee increase. I think it's pretty generous, more than reasonable. And hopefully, we as a staff over there have been educating folks. Feedback that we've got is from about time to I knew it was coming. I don't know how this place, you know, functions with these really, really reasonable prices. We don't want to gouge anybody. We want to be fair, but I think this is a more than fair gesture from us to our patrons that I think that, and like the feedback has been readily well received. So I don't see this as being an issue at all. Questions?
Thank you, Jake. Definitely looking at those fees. I mean, comparable, if not just slightly lower than your average gym fee. If
Yeah.
you go to the new bougie Villa Sport that used to be Axiom and everybody else. So, you know, cost of living is going up, and so too do fees. But are there any questions from the commission? Yes, Commissioner Dennington.
All I have to do is look at you and thank you. So I had several just kind of fun. I mean, I don't know how fun they are, but the age of the pickleballers, I mean, is there everything from very young to older? Are they mainly middle-aged or?
That's a great question, Mr. President, members of the commission. We're starting to see a lot of younger folks. And when I say younger, 10, 12, 14, 15, some grandkids and granddaughters, grandsons coming in with grandpa and grandmas during the week.
Mhm.
But when kids are in school, it's typically what I call active seniors. Those 55 and older are there. But yeah, the younger crew is getting involved in pickleball during the summer months.
I have follow-ups. So I love that when we went on the tour, we saw home court. It was wonderful. So a lot of the pictures that you showed were great. So I think Jazzercise was in that large space doing their thing, and I'm a Jazzercise.
Yeah, cool.
I don't go to the live class, but anyway, I've been doing it a long time. So I wanted to know in those education rooms.
Yes.
So are they rented often? Are they used a lot, or and we're going to be doing a lot of that at the community center. We're going to have rooms like that over there. So they're far away from each other, but I just wondered how many got rented.
Yeah, so those rooms are not rented. They are used by instructors that are in our activity guide. So I think right now, within the last 2 weeks, 2 of those rooms have been full with a Lego class. So, but yeah, and I don't often get requests to rent that space.
Okay.
Moving forward, you know, we could potentially do that. So, but I don't often really get requests to rent that space.
Okay. Also, I wanted to know if do you have to post signage that you have cameras monitoring? I mean, I didn't know if you had legally had to let people know that they're being watched or whatever, because
I don't know if you have to. We do. So we have got, I think it says you're on, yeah, it's cameras. I can't even remember what the wording is. It's a picture of a camera that it says something. It's on each court. So, but yeah, I don't know if legally if we have to, but we do. Yeah.
okay. I also wondered on your signage, where we were talking about putting the sponsors, is that going to be electronic so that you can change it easily to
That's a great question. We talked about that. I think the electronic version would be a little spendy. And it is, the electronic version would be nice because you could change everything from an iPad and or computer. But with that comes costs. So I think we can really adapt those scoreboards for a really minimal fee and just be wiser dollars spent doing that. Then that way we can hold on to more of our sponsorship money when we really get into that program. So maybe at the new community center, Garrett can get one of those built. So
And one last thing. On your, that you're going to be presenting, Garrett's going to be presenting the city council. Just, there's a correct spelling on, instead of saying Meridian Senior,
Oh.
Meridian Seniors, I think this is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
Anyway, I'm
that's-
just that you might want to correct that, so.
Yeah. Good catch. And that, this sign is just at home court. So this is not something that's been posted out in the paper, but I just made this sign up that's just sitting at the home court, but I will make that change.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any additional questions for Jake regarding home court? Hearing none. Jake, thank you so much.
you.
Absolutely. All right, we are moving on to staff reports. There is no workshop, but yes, staff reports. Steve, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lots going on. You heard a little bit about the events side already from me, but I think the main thing I would focus on myself is budgets. So we're in budget season. Terry Dennington was at the budget workshop, excuse me. And one of the main items presented and discussed was the community center. And while, the budget's not yet, final or adopted, a lot of the biggest and most important work happens at those workshops in determining, what gets published and what's in or out for consideration. And the good news that I would pass along is that the community center construction funding is currently in. So we have we had many requests. That's only one, but that was our big one. And it got quite a lot of discussion, lots of discussions about timing. I'll just share briefly the timing that we're hoping for is we're just wrapping up design development. We're moving into construction documents. If this budget gets approved and construction funding, which by the way comes from impact fees, not from taxes, but from the development impact fees. We would go out to bid this fall, award this winter, break ground next spring, roughly 18 months of construction, open in fiscal year 28, hopefully fall of 27 would be the goal, but a lot of moving parts between now and then. So it's too late to commit to an opening date, but that's at least the goal and the plan and the dream at this point. That's the target, I would say. But a big step in that process is getting the construction funding approved, which those funds are at least tentatively in the budget moving forward. So with that, I will stand for any questions.
Any questions for Steve on behalf of the commission? Thank you, Steve. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we got another restroom opened up at Lakeview Golf Course. And two more are being delivered the week of July 21st. The guys are working on renovating the bocce ball courts at Kleiner Park, which they were constructed from road-based gravel and artificial turf. And over the years, it's kind of settled and became really wavy. So pulling all that out, putting concrete in, and then the artificial turf on top of the concrete. So that's undergoing a renovation. And those are some of the highlights. It seems like it's just every day there's like a million things, from electric motorcycles in parks to you name it. So I'll happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Mike on his report? Commissioner Dennington?
This is actually not regarding this, but I know we talked about the silos out off of Black Cat a while back, and you said they were going to be dismantled and placed somewhere or kept somewhere to be used in the future. I was just wondering, I know they're gone, so.
Yep, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, great question. So originally the developer was going to dismantle them and the city was going to own them to then possibly either give them to somebody else or reconstruct them somewhere on our own property. And then, gosh, what's the nursery on Meridian Road and
Victory Greens?
Victory Greens? They said that they want them to, they were willing to take them and reassemble them at the nursery because they have used to be a farm and there's another historic building on the site. So it was a great fit. So we took the agreement to council to void it. And so we're out of the silo business. So-
Thank you
Yep.
so much. I'm just glad that
Yeah,
they
you're
were,
welcome. Yeah.
they were kept
Yeah,
somewhere.
Yeah.
I love that, so.
Yeah. I don't know what the timing is, but if you're down that way and they're, that's where they're going.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mike. Garrett?
All right. Well, in recreation world, you kind of heard Steve this earlier about the events. We had the 4th of July celebration, movie night, Kleiner Park Live. I know Renee's working on logistics and all that stuff, along with Jenna Shop, and then community art party logistics, trunk or treat logistics, and like we mentioned earlier, we're kind of meeting on Christmas in July. So we're kind of getting all that stuff round up, ready to go. Sports wise, we're just finishing up the spring softball season with the end of season tournament. Today was the fall softball registration deadline for fall softball, and then we have fall volleyball registration open as well. So working on that. The pool, swim lessons are going well. We added a mommy and me swim lesson this year. Didn't get as much turnout as we had hoped, but it's gaining traction. So once people have seen it, it's the first time we've ever offered it there at the Meridian Pool. So we're hoping that that'll get a little bit more traction, more people registered for that. But public swim's going well. We've added some private parties this year, so Willow's scheduling those. And then today, right now at the pool, is a swim meet. The Killer Whales are hosting their second swim meet this season. So working on that with a couple other just minor miscellaneous repairs and building maintenance items there. You already just heard from Jake in the home court. Golf wise, we've had some of the best months that we've had since we've had the golf course. So Ryan's doing a great job over there with that and his staff. And like Hans said earlier, the Dairy Board had their golf tournament out there on that Monday, and they loved how the course looks. The course looks fantastic. So it was awesome to see that. I've been working a lot on community center, like Steve said, budgets, and like Jake said, more of the fee stuff, trying to get that all organized and ready to go. And then the Meridian Youth Baseball Agreement. We are so close. So we're waiting on one or two board members to do their final review of it. And then we're hoping to get that in front of council here, hopefully by the end of the month, but we shall see. So with that, I'll stand for questions.
Thank you, Garrett. Any questions for Garrett on the commission? Kim? Kim, floor is yours.
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
I saw Emily's tag and just
Commissioners.
had a split moment.
You can call me Emily if you prefer. I take it as a compliment. So pathway highlights, we have a couple of pathways poised for construction, fingers crossed. The one from McDermott to Glassford along the 5 Mile Creek west and under State Highway 16. That one will go out to bid next week. There's still a few final approvals we're getting, but we're, close enough to completion and the full project to advertise soon and get the bid process going so we can construct this year. Rail with Trail, there's still a federal funding delay, but the PS&E, plan specifications and engineering process, is complete. And so we met today with finance and the consultant and the state representative and people who administer funds to talk about special requirements for getting that out to bid. Those are federal funds, but it's bid locally. So provided they come through, which we are hopeful that they will, we will look to bid the Rail with Trail pathway in as soon as we get the funds, probably September-ish. So exciting to think of that one finally happening after a long time. And then we have a restroom on order at the Trail Hub out on 10 Mile Road, the 5 Mile Creek Trail Hub. I don't have a date for delivery yet, unless Mike, you've heard anything different. But we are working with our design consultant to just make adjustments to some of the site improvements that will receive and accommodate the restroom. So we will be able to bid those and have it ready to go by the time the building arrives, or at least the timing will be relatively congruent. So that's the highlight. I will stand for any other questions. Thanks.
Any questions from the commission? I just have one, kind of a two-parter, but it's one of those questions that never comes up until it impacts you. Earlier in spring was wanting to go rollerblading on the path and use the pathways. I decide, I'm just going to go online, go to the city's website, print out the most current map of our pathways. The first part of it is when I printed it out, it comes out almost like the names of the roads come out in Morse code. It's just like a dash or a dot. It's not the words. And I left it on my desk. I was going to bring the printout today. The second part two of this question is for those citizens who do want to ride their bike or rollerblade and can't have a paper map on them to just kind of reorient themselves on our pathways. Have we looked into an app, a mobile app that allows you to pull up our Meridian pathways and can be updated as we grow?
Mr. Chair, and thanks for your question. Regarding the printable map, I'm glad to know that. I'm sorry to hear that, but we'll look into it as part of the pathway master plan, which will be wrapping, before the end of the year. We will have an updated map, and we'll make sure sooner than that, but that the new map is print friendly. We have talked in the past about an app for navigation, and I might have to get back to you. I don't remember exactly where we left it, other than that do you remember, Steve or Mike? I'm sorry, it's hitting me kind of cold.
I can help. I can help, Mr. Chairman. So we did look into an app. There are a lot of logistics on the IT side that make a true app not very feasible. We did try to make an interactive map, though. Actually, if you go to like Boise's Ridge to Rivers mapping system, it's actually on the website and very functional just through the online URL, as opposed to not needing an app to access it. So we've tried to focus that direction. We did have a lot of recent upgrades to the online map where it can automatically pinpoint you are here and some things like that. But it's GIS based. I'm sure it's something that needs constant refinement, and there's probably a lot of things that could make it better. But I think it should be better than it ever has been. But we would welcome, its use and your feedback, to see how well it is working. But that's what I would give, and turn it back to Kim.
Thanks, Stephen. Mr. Chair, one more comment. I know we do provide information to Google, so the pathways are on Google Maps. Interestingly, I got a question from a person without sight. I don't know what the best way to say that is. An inquiry about wayfinding for people who aren't sighted, and have we thought about that? And I said not enough. And so I've been doing a little bit of research and may invite that person to, provide some input. But I think there are other ways, per your question, that we could make it better, navigation and information about the system. So we welcome any input and we're working on that. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate it. There are no other questions. We have wrapped up all our business for tonight's meeting. With that, I seek to have a motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
All right. A motion has been made to adjourn tonight's meeting. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Greer. All in favor? Any opposed? We are adjourned until our next regular meeting, Wednesday, August 13th at 4 p.m.